Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here, and here's your latest housing market update. The National Association of Realtors just announced today that home prices reached another all-time high. However, that's not the whole story though, because home sales have faltered once again. And speaking of that, home sales have now dropped to its lowest levels since June of 2020. So I'm going to dive into this report for you guys, share all the latest data with you guys, so you guys can make a more informed decision about whether you should buy or sell a house. And so I hope you guys appreciate these videos and my transparency as well. And of course, if you guys get any value out of these videos, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. As I mentioned, this was just released on the 21st of June, which is today. It says here, existing home sales fell 3.4% in May. And meanwhile, the median sold price reached a record high of over $400,000 for the first time. And it says here, existing home sales retreated for the fourth consecutive month in May. So total existing home sales, which the National Association of Realtors defines as single-family homes, townhomes, condos, and co-ops. That's included in their existing home sale numbers. Anyways, that fell 3.4% from April. In other words, it fell 3.4% from the previous month, and year-over-year home sales actually decreased by 8.6%. And here's a graphic depiction showing home sales according to the National Association of Realtors, which is on Uncle Fred's website here. So we basically reached a 12-month high over the past May to May in January of 2022, when we had a seasonally adjusted annual rate of home sales at basically 6.5 million. But as you can see here, for 4 consecutive months, we've had decreases in existing home sales for a seasonally adjusted rate. So right now we're at 5.4 million, the lowest level since June of 2020, which is basically just after the onset of stay-at-home orders across the United States. And here's a table I pulled from their website here. And these are existing home sales. And by the way, these are seasonally adjusted annual rates. So the rate right now at 5.4 million is based on the current sales pace for May. And they basically multiply that by 12. And they also do a seasonal adjustment as well. So in other words, at the current sales pace for May, if we multiply that by 12 months, we would have 5.4 million home sales across the United States. Something definitely worth mentioning here, when we're talking about the total number of home sales and also home sold prices, that's really based on contracts signed back in March and April when we're talking about May home sales and also May home prices. In other words, mortgage rates average around 4 to 5.5% 1 to 2 months ago, but now they're averaging over 6%. And because mortgage rates are averaging over 6% right now, this is definitely going to be impacting, in my personal opinion, home sales in the months to come. Okay, let's go back to this table here from the National Association of Realtors. Again, the seasonally adjusted annual rate right now is 5.4 million. Again, the weakest reading since June of 2020, which is basically just after COVID hit our US markets here. So home sales are down 3.4% compared to 1 month ago and are down 8.6% from 1 year ago. And as you can see here, last year we had 6.1 million home sales in the US. In 2020, we had 5.6 million. So the current sales pace right now is far lower than 2021, but it's also lower than 2020 as well. And then looking at 2019, we had 5.3 million home sales. So at the current sales pace right now, we are just over 2019's levels. What I also noticed when analyzing this table here is that the total number of home sales only increased compared to the previous month in the Northeast region. So in the Midwest, the South, and the West, they all have a decrease in home sales compared to the previous month. However, though, compared to 1 year ago, all 4 major regions saw decreases in home sales from a year ago. And the West experienced the worst decline by 10% from a year ago. And according to the National Association of Realtors chief economist, Lawrence Yun, he stated the following: home sales have essentially returned to the levels seen in 2019 prior to this pandemic after 2 years of gangbuster performance. Our housing market over the past couple of years has basically been on steroids, so it's nice to see we're moving in the right direction to 2019's levels. Okay, let's talk about housing inventory in the US. So total housing inventory, which by the way, the National Association of Realtors includes pending home sales plus available houses for sale in their total housing inventory numbers. That's why this number here of 1,160,000 units for total housing inventory is so elevated compared to Realtor.com and also Redfin as well. So anyways, housing supply or total housing inventory increased 12.6% from April, but we're still down from 1 year ago. We're down 4.1% from 1 year ago. This is a significant increase compared to 1 month ago. So inventory to increase by 12.6% in one single month is obviously a step in the right direction. Also, unsold inventory or the month supply is at 2.6 months at the current sales pace. 1 year ago, we're at 2.5 months. Also, 1 month ago, we were at 2.2 months. So here's a graphic depiction showing a total housing inventory according to the National Association of Realtors on Uncle Fred's website here. So again, we're at 1.16 million, and that's coming off from the lows we saw in December of last year through February of this year, when we had approximately 850,000 for housing supply in the US. But as you can see here, we have increased that for 3 consecutive months now, increasing to 1.16 million, but that's still less than last year's levels of 1.21 million. Also, in looking at this is obviously a step in the right direction that inventory has been increasing for 3 consecutive months, a big increase compared to April 2022. But of course, we have a long ways to go if we want to see home prices decrease greatly. And according to Lawrence Yoon, he went on to say the following here. Further sales declines should be expected in the upcoming months, given housing affordability challenges from the sharp rise in mortgage rates this year. By the way, mortgage rates have basically doubled since January of this year, which is just mind-blowing. He went on to say the following here. Nonetheless, homes priced appropriately are selling quickly and inventory levels still need to rise substantially, almost doubling, to cool home price appreciation and to provide more options for home buyers. So as I mentioned in a previous video from last week, according to an article from Housing Wire, we need approximately a 4-month supply of housing supply and also approximately 1.5 to 1.9 million houses for sale in order to cool off this housing market, and also before we see home prices decrease. Okay, changing gears slightly, let's talk about home prices. So the median sold price of all housing types in May was $407,600. That's actually up 14.8% from 1 year ago as prices increased in all regions. And check out this trajectory of home prices ever since January of this year. So in January, the median sold price was basically $354,000. Now we're sitting at $407,600. So the median sold price has now increased for 4 consecutive months. And this obviously is far higher than 1 year ago when the median sold price was only $355,000. So check this out. Here's a table I pulled from the National Association of Realtors website. So home prices have increased 14.8% compared to 1 year ago. That's basically May 2021 compared to May 2022. Again, May's prices 1 year ago, $355,000 was a median sold price, I should say. But look at this, 2021, the median sold price for the entire year was $350,000. In 2020, it was just less than $300,000. And in 2019, it was only $271,900, far less than the levels we have right now of over $400,000 for the first time ever. Also, they break this down by region, again, by the Northeast, the Midwest, the South, and the West. The biggest gains we saw actually were in the South. 20.6% increase compared to 1 year ago. The median sold price right now, $375,000, and in May 2021, it was only $311,000. As you can see here, home prices increased compared to 1 year ago in each of the 4 major regions. It actually increased by the least amount in the Northeast by 6.7%. Also, the highest home prices, of course, were in the West. The median sold price was $633,800. Houses on average across the United States are still selling very quickly. So the average days on the market is only 16 days in May. That's actually down from 17 days from 1 year ago. And also 88% of houses that sold in May were on the market for less than 1 month. First-time home buyers made up 27% of all home sales in May, but that's down from 31% from 1 year ago. Meanwhile, all cash sales accounted for 25% of transactions in May. So in other words, for all the houses that sold in May, 1 out of every 4 houses sold by all cash buyers. And that's basically on par with last month as well as 1 year ago as well. Also, individual investors or second home buyers accounted for 16% of all home sales in May. That's basically on par with 1 year ago and from 1 month ago as well. And of course, distressed sales, which are defined by foreclosures and short sales, is basically non-existent, representing less than 1% of all home sales in May. So part of the reason why we're seeing home prices increase every single month this year is because of low mortgage rates. So we basically started the year at 3.3%, but for May, the average was 5.23% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, according to Freddie Mac here. But 1 year ago, it was 2.96%. So it's going to be very interesting to see what June and also July's numbers look like, because average mortgage rates are averaging around 6% right now, not 5.23%. Also, according to Realtor.com, home prices gained the most in Miami by 45.9%. Also in Nashville, a gain of 32.5%. And also in Orlando, increasing by 32.4%. So basically the gains we're seeing in Miami, Nashville, and Orlando are basically 10 times the historical averages of home price gains. So more normal levels of home price gains are in the range of 3 to 5% and not 45.9% in one single year. All right, so before I wrap this video up, I want to share some graphics with you guys to show how the levels we're seeing right now compared to prior years. So again, this is according to the National Association of Realtors. So here's total existing home sales. And by the way, these are seasonally adjusted annual rates, of course. Right now, we're just over a 5.4 million home sales for May. And as I noted here, this is basically the same levels back in 2019, but still far lower than 2020 and 2021 levels for home sales. And here's an interesting graphic that I want to share with you guys. Here's the percent change year over year for home prices. So we're looking at May 2022 compared to the last 12 months. So as you can see here in May of 2021, which was absolutely crazy housing market, we had a gain of 25.2% for home prices, or the median sold price, compared to May of 2020. And the following month, it increased by 24.6%. But ever since June of last year, we saw some decreases in home price gains from 1 year ago. So right now we're at 14.8%, which is still historically very, very high, but much lower than the gains we saw last year. And here's the percent change year over year for home sales, the total number of home sales compared to 1 year ago. As you can see here, ever since August 2021, we've had a decrease in the number of home sales compared to 1 year ago. So we have decreased by 1% basically from August 2020 to August 2021. But as you can see here, ever since January of this year, the percent decreases in the number of home sales compared to 1 year ago has been increasing. So in January, we're down 2.4% home sales compared to 1 year ago, but now we're down 8.6%. So here's my honest opinion regarding this here. So obviously we saw a decrease in home sales from August basically to now, but basically in 2021, it's my personal opinion, we saw a decrease in home sales compared to the previous year because of a lack of houses for sale. However, though, in 2022, we obviously have a lack of houses for sale, historically speaking, though. But this decrease in home sales, in my personal opinion, is due to a lack of housing affordability as mortgage rates have basically been skyrocketing. Okay, so here's the last slide I want to share with you guys. So here's the percent change in home sales from 1 year ago by price range. So basically in the range of $100,000 to $250,000 for home sales in May. That's a decrease by 26.8% compared to 1 year ago. Also a big decrease by 22.3% for houses that sold for less than $100,000 compared to 1 year ago. In stark contrast though, look at the sales of over $500,000, all increasing by over 20%, and sales of over $1 million increasing by 22.1% from May of 2021. And obviously because we're seeing far less home sales of less than $500,000 in the US and far more home sales of over $500,000, that's one reason why we're seeing record high home prices being broken each and every month. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you got any value out of today's video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.